Afternoon, folks. How are you doing today? So, one of the topics I really think we need to start talking about and planning for as investors, as real estate investors, is what happens if no more stimulus deals are made. The Congress and the president clearly seem to be miles apart, to use vocabulary I took from multiple articles today. So let's ask ourselves what happens. So that's no more checks, right? The $1,200 check per individual, 500 per kid. That's no more replenishment of PPP loans. It's no more money for testing and contact tracing. No help for states, no bailout for airlines. Just what happens? And I think there's a couple of things that we need to realize. First off, I think it goes without question that there will be some short-term pain. As we have talked about through the first 6 months of this, we have successfully, with the stimulus and a lot of help from the Fed, delayed pain. We have pushed off pain. As we've talked about in the last week, maybe 10 days, the economy seems to be picking back up. You start to see these green shoots and you start to see more and more of them, and you don't really even have to look that hard. I go back to that report about small businesses. I think it was 2,080 of them were interviewed. I think 34% were confident they could survive a year in March, and now it's 64% just a couple of months later. So again, we can see that businesses are adapting, whether it's social distancing or cleaning or eating outside or whatever it is. You're starting to see airlines, traffic at TSA pick up. There was a record last Sunday. So the economy is starting to at least sputter along. But if there is no stimulus coming, I think we have some short-term pain. And what I mean by that is I think we have a bunch of folks that I'm not saying this to be callous. I'm just saying this to be realistic. I think there's going to be a lot of movement. I think what we have seen so far is we've seen the rich, the folks with options, move, right? They have left the big cities. They've gone to second homes. They've gotten out of high-taxed, troubled states like New York, Illinois, and California. They're making choices for better quality of life, for reasons, work remote, all of that. If we don't have this additional stimulus, I think there's unfortunately some folks that were service sector based in these big cities that are going to move because they can't afford it. Right? They maybe have missed rents. They may be 1, 2, 3 months down. Their roommates may have moved back home and now they're stuck with bigger bills and no job. Really, really tough situations. I understand. But there are states and there are cities that will be stronger coming out of this. And while it feels terrible to kind of pack up the car and move because you almost feel like you don't have options. I get it. I think a lot of people 12 months from now will be better off, right? If they can live in an apartment in another state, make, 60, 70% as much as they used to, but have a cost of living that's a third, that's a net positive, right? They will be better off. We hear all these stories about 25 million people being evicted and suddenly being homeless. While there will certainly be some truth in that, what is likely going to happen is these people are going to move in with family. They are going to move cities and move states. And they will be employed again. They'll just be employed somewhere else. And I say this as someone who was days away when I was 12 or 13. It was a very rough time in my family. My father was unemployed yet again. And I remember we had to have a yard sale. We sold all my mom's stuff that she treasured just to afford tickets. We were days away from having to move to Michigan to live with my grandparents. That's how bad it was. And we were ready. We weren't happy about it. I remember having a going away party. All my friends signed my shirt and we were packed and ready to go. Thankfully, out of nowhere, my dad got a job and we were saved within 24 hours of getting on the plane. But that's going to happen. I think there's a lot of people that if you stop holding on to live in a Cracker Jack box in the city, San Francisco or New York or Chicago, and go, you know what? I'm going to move somewhere cheaper. And I can still work in a restaurant. I can still work in retail. I can still maybe get a manufacturing job that's coming back in construction, whatever it is. I think there will be plenty of short-term pain if there's no more stimulus. It will be horrible. It will be bad. It will be traumatic. But if we look back in a year, I think in total, quality of life for the mass, if you add it all up together, will be net positive. I really do. The other thing that's going to happen is we're going to see a lot of bad debt. Banks are going to write off a bunch of loans. They laddered up properties, office, retail in these big cities that are not cash flowing. They have laddered up multifamily that are not collecting rent. There's going to be plenty of bad debt in these big cities. But again, there will be growth in new debt in these new locations. I think this is such a reverse of the Great Depression, where people rushed to the cities for jobs. I think now with technology, we're going to rush to the suburbs. And I think there's a decade of growth in the suburbs because the suburbs aren't ready for the population growth that could be coming. So I think you need to do yourself a favor. You need to maybe prepare for no stimulus. Watch your spending. Ask yourself, should I move? I think there are some people that are, again, I was a day away. I remember how horrible it was saying goodbye to my friends and bawling and being pissed at my parents and all that stuff. So I say this with those memories, and I feel for anybody going through it. It's not fair. Absolutely, it's not fair. But hopefully in a year, everybody's better off. So again, I think it would behoove us all to really evaluate what happens if there's no stimulus, because we still got to get through this. We're going to survive. Let's just try to make the best of it. And again, I think there's enough green shoots coming that we can keep the trajectory going. And next year will be better than this year. So that's what I'm thinking. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. Do you think there will be an agreement? Do you think this is all posturing by both sides and something gets done? How about this? Do you think a deal gets done in July? Or no, what are we in? Not July. It's August already. Gosh, it's August already. Do you think a deal gets done in August? Yes or no? Let me know what you think below. All right, everybody, take care. Bye.